Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep, welcome back to Pacific Paradise, and welcome back to this island we are making. We are once again in the map editor on the PC version of the game. So we can press W to move forward, S to go back, A to go left, D to go right, Q to go down, E to go up, push and hold the right mouse button to pan the camera around. Those are the controls. But wait, there's more, there's always more. If we click on terrain and we get our brushes, well, if we start going around the island with the smooth height brush, just making the sand smooth and, well, sand-like, and we crank the amount slider up and it's getting even more smooth and sandy like, almost like a beach. And then we go, ooh, you know what I could do? I could raise and lower the height. Hit on lower and then left click. That amount slider is inherited between all of the brushes. That amount slider is going to cause problems. Save often, because if it is cranked all the way up and you left click, you'll punch a hole straight through to Cthulhu's bedroom, and there is no undo in the map editor. You're gonna have to reload from whatever point you last saved at. So anyway, last time we were over here, we were making a little habitable offshore island, and we did a good job. It is a good job. Now there is a temptation to go completely ham and fill one of these things up with as much stuff as you can, but thinking about it for not too long, what you do want to do when you are creating something like this is to give the player options. So we can just leave the inside empty for now. We might do something with it. We might add a point of interest here. But, just going through there is one extra thing you'll need to know on this version of the map editor. In fact, every version of the map editor in Stranded Deep, there is a little anomaly. One thing you need to keep in mind. As we place objects down, the camera will speed up and slow down because the camera slows down when it gets close to an object, and the more objects you put in the world, the more stuttery the camera becomes. Why? It is something that has never been addressed or in fact fixed, because every object slows the camera down, and as soon as you pass the object, you just snap forward super fast. It will look like we are having some FPS issues, but we're not. I would love constant velocity on the camera. I'd love quite a few things to change in the map editor, but that's something for another day. Anyway, what I thought we could do this time is put in a shipwreck. It's fairly straightforward. We just go to structures, grab a shipwreck. Let's see. Boop-a-doo, shipwreck. Okay, slap it down. Done. Alright, cool. Save. See you next time. No. I thought we could do something very interesting, because we have all of these different shipwreck parts. So just slapping a shipwreck down is fine, and slapping a lot of them down, well, that's okay as well. If you want to have an island that's completely covered in shipwrecks, there is a slight caveat to that. Every shipwreck is likely to spawn physics objects in a container. And the more physics objects you have on an island, the slower things are going to run. So if you put a lot of rocks down, and then a lot of crabs, a lot of sharks, you might find that your island runs very slowly. So we're going to get creative. We're not going to put too many wrecks down, but we're going to make them interesting. We're going to delete that for a start. And we have other wrecks. Sure, we could put in a whole container ship. That wouldn't actually be a bad thing, just to have it just like that, but that's not the way the island's going to look. We could put in a smaller wreck, something we know. Or we have the back of a ship here. This is kind of an interesting little wreck, and we've used it before. We've just placed it out into the sea. Not a problem. That is the way it comes out of the toolbox, just on its side. So if you don't know, if you pull something out of the toolbox, it will follow the terrain as you are still holding left mouse button, but as soon as you let go, then you will transform it, and it can clip through the terrain, which is kind of a useful thing. To delete something, press delete on the keyboard, or we can just hit the delete button in the bottom right hand side of the screen, because that is a bin with a cube going into it. Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit weird. Don't know why the bin needs a lid, but anyway, this is something we're going to use. So I'm going to press R to rotate, and I'm going to put it upright. There is something you do need to know about this particular wreck. It does have a huge hole in it. but it doesn't have any of the orange grab handles that other wrecks have. So if I pull out a wreck, not you? You. There we go. These wrecks have orange grab handles. Orange grab handles. They've got a slightly mustard colour grab handle. So these handles are here so that if the player jumps up close enough, they will mantle onto the boat. I think some of them have them around their cargo holds as well. But this one has a huge hole in the front. So if you put a load of rocks at the back, the player falls in the front, they will never get out. They will get stuck. But wait, there's more. Of course there's more. If we select it, press R to rotate, pull it around, T to transform, R to rotate. And then if we drag it deep enough into the water, but we leave the back open, well, that's fine, right? Well, kind of not. I'm just going to point the camera up at the sky. And then I'm going to hit the cog and turn the ocean off, because that means the shadows for the trees and everything will remain locked, but only if we look up at the sky. You see here, we have these footprints in the sand. The sand becomes much more coarse, and at this point the game can start putting things like rocks in the ocean, which means you've just put your wreck here, but the game could just say, you know what, I'm going to put a rock right here. Player falls in, you didn't place the rock there, but the player is now stuck. But that is only going to affect that one player, because the rocks and the coral are placed randomly around the island. For some people that might block them in here, for others it might be absolutely fine. So we're going to have to remedy a potential problem with that, and it's not too difficult to do. So in order to make sure that we don't trap a player, what we're going to do is bring this up. I'm going to hit rotate, and I'm going to position it just how I want it, just how I think I'm going to need it. The water is still off, which is fine. It's not too much of a problem. We can hit terrain and we can turn the ocean back on. Okay. This is good. This is very good. So what we're going to do is use this as part of a shipwreck. We're going to make a big shipwreck. Big, but not huge. So I'm going to click on objects and move this around, rotate slightly. We're just going to get this front piece positioned just so. Maybe down a little bit. Transform, get it into the water so that it looks like it's on the sea floor. Good. Then we're going to turn the water off. I'm just going to hit display ocean, and all the shadows in the background are now unlocked. Oh no, that's distracting. So we'll look up at the sky, display ocean off, and now the shadows are all stuck on the beach. Fine. Where shadows should be. I'm going to hit the terrain brush. I'm going to hit set height, and I'm going to read height, read terrain paint height. I'm actually going to change the size of the brush down so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to select it from the underwater sand that is smooth underwater sand. Why would I do that? Because I have a plan. Under here, we're just going to paint in the smooth underwater sand. Crank the mat up, left click and hold, and just paint it up. But wait, what does that do? That's going to mean that the game cannot put rocks underneath the shipwreck. I'm going to paint it out further than we need it, so the amount slider is reasonably high up. And then what I'm going to do is hit the smooth height, change the size of the brush, change the amount to 3/4, left click and hold, and just kind of paint that back, just keeping an eye on the actual boat itself, because what I want is this just to sit on a bit of a plinth of sand in such a way that the game is not going to say, oh, I see what you've done there. I'm just going to put a big old boulder right in the way so that any players swimming around is going to drown themselves. No game, please don't do that. Right, cool. So that's good. That's offshore and that's sat on its little plinth of sand. Turn that off. Good. Well, we could probably do something more there because it does look kind of obvious in what we've done. So we're going to turn the ocean off. Nope, that's definitely distracting. Up at the sky, display ocean on and off, display ocean on and off. What are you doing? I'm trying to talk faster than my mouth can handle. Oh, I thought you were going insane. Well, sometimes. Amount slide all the way down, just off the stop, hit lower, change the size of the brush down, and I'm just gonna... Actually, I'm gonna turn the water back on. I'm gonna do it from here. Ooh, there's a cloud effect in the way. So we are actually, the brush still exists, but you can't see it when it's underneath the water. And what I'm just gonna do is just push and like just under the water, and I'm guessing at this point using where the mouse cursor is. Because what I want is, that's not even doing anything. There we go. What I want is to push the terrain down. It is a little confusing. So for all of these tools, we have a brush, and including the options panel, it doesn't get rid of the brush. So yes, even someone like me who has spent a lot of time in the map editor will have a moment where you're just clicking away and nothing's happening. What is going on? Right, let's go here and see what it looks like. That's a little better. It doesn't look like we've just sat on a table. Okay, look up at the sky. Ocean off. Heads down. And we're not going to smooth it. I'm not going to smooth it. It looks fine down there. It looks all right. Good. Okay, so we have this area here, and we know there's a bug in the game. The 1.0 version of the game, this is all rough, and it never was because we went along here with a smooth height brush. We cranked the amount up, and we left click, and we held, and everything smoothed out. Smooth, like... smooth things. Things that are smooth. Oil, silk, that's pretty smooth. I guess water, olive oil, certain cheeses are smooth. Well, we're going to go around anyway, just make sure everything is super smooth. Then we're going to turn the ocean off. That looks pretty good. So all those rough edges are gone, but they'll be back. Of course they'll be back. Game's a little bit broken. Okay, we have Shipwreck 4A here. Oh. Yes, we do. So we have Shipwreck 4A. We also have Shipwreck 5A. Now we could use that, but I think it's just too big for what we need it to do. So what we're going to do is use that, and then Shipwreck 4A, which is just the skeletonized hull of a ship. So it's just the ribs of a ship. And I'm going to range this so it looks like... let's rotate. And remember, we can put stuff in the terrain after we've let go of it for that first time. T to transform. And what I'm going to do is make it look like the ship was a lot bigger. And it is just kind of broken its back on the sandbar. Oh, and then we're going to dress the sandbar. Oh, now each of these counts as an individual wreck. But because it's clipped partially under the island, if this does spawn any boxes, chances are they'll just spawn underneath the map and fall out of the world. I'm not too concerned if a player suddenly gets a bunch of loot that, well, you had no intention of giving them. Like, well, it doesn't matter too much. So we have this curved section on the back. I don't really want this curved section here because it kind of betrays the fact that this isn't actually part of the side of the ship. But I'm sure we can do something with that. So I'm just going to have that poking out of the sand. Okay. I'm going to press C to clone. Move it over here. R to rotate. So C, Charlie, will clone an item, any item that's selected. And the reason we're going to do this before putting any trees and stuff on the island is because it's just easier to do that without having a bunch of extra objects around. But wait, there's more. Yeah, if we put these two pieces here, we'll block the player access to the island itself. So I'm going to move that back slightly. And I'm going to move this one away slightly. In fact, what we could do is flip this one over and hide sections of the boat that we don't want the player seeing in the little sandbar itself. Might be a good idea. So, R to rotate. And then what I'm going to do is try and match it as close to the hull form as possible. There we go. Leaving plenty of gaps. So if a player is swimming here, I don't want to play getting stuck there. So again, we don't want to play getting stuck in the hold. We don't want to play getting stuck here. We're making interesting things for the player to interact with. Now this is fine. Player can jump over that. That's not an issue. I think though we probably will auto rotate, flip you over 180. There you go. Because we've got this spar on the top. That's okay. Just adjust its position, rotation, and transform. Pop that in. We could actually have it further in the island than necessary. Okay, that's fine. There we go. So we've got a couple of bits of boat, and it looks twisted because, of course, it would twist. If your boat broke its back on a little island, well, it's not going to be in a straight line. It's going to be all bent over and just following whatever gravity wants it to do. Gravity and the power of the waves. So what we could do is just move that over so you can slalom through that. Okay, good, excellent. But wait, there's more? Ah, there's always more. There's always more. I'm glad you asked. Yeah, we really need something sort of here. So we could use another end section from the ships, the Shipwreck 7A end section. But wait, that's just going to look wrong, surely. First of all, don't call me Shirley. And secondly, we just want this mast. Now there are examples of fairly symmetrical looking ships front and back. For example, the American Liberty ship. That definitely has a similarity front and back, especially when it comes to the masts and mast structure. But also we're going to bury this bit sort of more in the ground. So we're going to hide that opening. It's going to go bloop. There we go. So now we have a very, very big, very, very broken boat. Which is, if we go terrain and objects, there we go. And we find the, what's a cruise ship? Cruise ship? Container ship. Okay. It's kind of about the same size. It's slightly narrower, but yeah, about the same size if we were to put it into the ground. But this is huge, and it has a lot of treasure on it. And it's a little overpowering for what we need on our island. I don't think we need this here. It's too big. It would just swamp our entire island, so I'm going to get rid of that. You can only put one on the island anyway. So this is a little nicer. Yeah, good, excellent. So we need to dress this this particular little island. So we're going to go terrain objects, so we don't have anything selected. We are going to close that. We're going to get some rocks out, and we're going to do exactly what we've done everywhere else. So we are going to grab some small rocks because we are on Small Rock Island, and we're just going to drab olive grey. No, we're going to grab them and sort of put them into the island itself. And if you're wondering, oh, you're making a lot of mistakes with your math. Yes, again, sometimes it just happens. You want to talk, and your mind is moving faster than your mouth can keep up with. But also, it is the end of the day, and I've been at work all day. Oh, what have you been doing at work? Work? Anyway, I'm just going to auto-rotate and make a little... So it's same as before. Just grab some rocks. Trees are all right on their own. We've done it before, but honestly, I just like grabbing some rocks and just having them in an area. It just looks good. T to transform, auto-rotate, pan the camera around because sometimes the XYZ axis on your little things are just not available. And then we're just gonna... Well, we're not. Let's go over here and just add some bits over here as well. Terrain objects, because we may as well just add the rocks and then trees separately. Big rock. That is a very big rock. Too big? No. Never too big. You want to put this in a position where it's on the island. Grass texture isn't going to clip through it, but also the player has enough space to run around it. Now what we could do is put it this side, so when a player runs off the island, they're not going to it's not going to act as a fence and stopping them from naturally exploring the area. So a player can run over the top or do whatever they want. Excellent, cool. Terrain objects. I'm going to grab another small rock. I'm just going to throw it over here. We could clone a few rocks, but you know what? I'm not going to. Not going to. Don't need to. R to rotate. You? I don't like that. This is something to do with the shape. I'll grab this one instead. T transform, put it in the ground. R to rotate. Have it open up a little bit. It's a kind of an arrow-shaped rock, but here's the thing. Just back it into the ground. There we go. I just want some asymmetry between this side and that side of the island, so that's good. Terrain objects, so we don't have anything selected. We're going to go up, we're going to go trees, we're going to go grab the ficus because, well, it's a tree that can't be chopped down and we're doing structural stuff. We'll put a lot of palm trees on the island at some point, and a lot of pine saplings because that is absolutely something we're going to need to do. But for the time being, let's get the structural stuff in. I think what I want is... It's pretty good. So I'll bring that down. Auto rotate. Branch. Where are you? Is this branch? It is this branch. Excellent. And I'm just gonna do this. Terrain objects, grab another tree, and then move you over to the rock. It can be clipped slightly into the rock. It doesn't actually matter with the trees because the tree can grow up around cracks and crevices in the rock. So it's like, well, yeah, they do that. That's exactly what trees do. That's kind of all right. I'm just liking the way that's fallen in, to be honest. Yeah, no, that's fine. So we'll come over here. Terrain objects, so we don't have anything selected. Sometimes if you have something selected and you drag something out of the toolbox, you might see it spinning or sliding away in the background. That's not so good. R to rotate, move you over. What I want is that to become a framing device. We're not writing a narrative here. No, but we are designing a narrative. Oh my! Telling a story with objects on a scene in a terrain. Wow. Anyway, cool. So I'm going to do that. Down you come. R to rotate. And then we could do this. Yep. T to transform. I love having the branches over the beaches. There we go. So come back to the beach and just see what it looks like. Because what I want, yeah, I think a little bit of thickening up there needs to happen. It's fine. Grab another tree. I can't see. Drop that right into the ground. Right into the ground. R to rotate. Bring it up. And then probably other way. Yeah. Yep. So what I'm doing is I like this branch here. Snapped onto something else, so we have to change the camera angle to get back onto the tree itself. I'll move it over. So we've got 3 trees on one side and 2 on the other. Okay. What we might do, in fact, is have that so it's... Yeah, that's probably better. So it's interacting with this side of the beach more. Also rotate, bring it back. T to transform, that's the rock. We move that slightly, so put it back. Okay. It's a little bit fiddly and a little bit, you know, a little bit difficult sometimes to work out what's where, what's what and what's going on. Like tree 1, don't mind if I do. You can come down. R to rotate, spin you around a little bit. Just to have a little bit of ficus action going on there. Maybe another one here. Little tiny trees. And we can drop them into the ground quite a substantial way just to... There we go, that's a little bit better. So just thickening up the thicket. Oh. But still allowing the player to run around using these little pathways. And just making sure it looks good from all angles. So it doesn't quite work here. T to transform, bring it in. Those two, okay, R to rotate, bring it over a little bit. There we go, that's better. Much better. I think we'll do the same thing here. So T to transform, down in, push it next to the rock, R to rotate. That's probably fine the way it is. That's much better. Thick thicket. Yes, 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 yes. I can see now. I can see now. I see now. So we have the ship itself, and we have these various bits and pieces here, and then we have two halves of a boat, and it's a very sad story. Maybe they got off all right. Maybe they all boarded the lifeboats and sailed out to sea. Maybe they didn't. Terrain objects, so we don't have anything selected, and we are going to make sure people want to come here, so we're going to drop a yucca tree down, and we're going to drop it here, and we're going to rotate around, so I'm going to put it against the old T to transform, against the old ficus, make sure it is in fact in the ground, which it is. R to rotate, just move it back slightly. You will need to be able to hit it. Sometimes if you put a fruit tree too close to a ficus tree, you're unable to pick any fruit. That can be a bit of an issue, like a real issue. So there is a collision box or a collision mesh around some of these objects. So you need to put them far enough away that you can interact with them, but close enough so they look natural. I think is what we're going for here. So a little bit of plant life. I don't want too big. I want players to be able to see through here. So maybe the bottom of these, where we don't have rocks, we can have plants. Just going to rotate these so that the leaves aren't too badly clipping through in such a way that's not completely obvious. Do we have a side where the leaves aren't too bad? There, in fact. Excellent. Good. And we'll grab another one over here. As long as the plants aren't within view of each other, you can get away with just grabbing and moving the same plant into an area. It's just one of those things. So T to transform, pop it down so the leaves are just touching the rock. Okay, don't even need to rotate it. Excellent. And we'll come over here. Boop. Now we could just leave this open. I mean, it's fine. Don't have to go nuts with all of the things. We'll put a nana plant, cheeky little nana plant. Cheeky little nana plant. Because the nana plant is a good structural plant. You just make sure you are in the ground. Are you in the ground? Yes, you are. Excellent. Good. So that's a good little structural thing. We could do the same over there, but I'm not entirely sure we need to. Aloe vera? Yes, please. So we'll drop an aloe in here. So one side is a bit more sparse, but there's still stuff here. Little plants. I think no, that's probably fine for that side. We don't need to go super massive. Let's move over here. Now the cameras were struggling because of all of the objects in the area. That's why we put the boat in first and put the rocks in second. That'll do. Nice little bit of greenery here. I think we still need something. And we can go too much, but we can also go not enough. So ceremon, big ceremon. Ooh. Yeah, it just feels like there should be something here and there isn't. Okay, terrain objects. I think we've got enough stuff there. It's a very, very steeply sloping beach here. Terrain. Display ocean off. Well, there's your problem. Look up at the sky, ocean on and off, down again. It's not too bad, but we're going to retrain height from there. The amount is all the way up. Should really leave it nearly all the way down, but whatever. Whatever. We'll just paint out here. Bring this up a bit. There we go. Because otherwise you'll look out and it's like, well, I can be stood here, but suddenly it's just deep ocean and I'm not entirely comfortable with that. It's not as if I can just dip my toe in the ocean and not have it gnawed off by some sort of primordial creature. Like a politician. So, yeah, we'll just bring all this stuff up. A slightly wider apron. Doesn't need to be too smooth, but we can. So, smooth height, amount. Probably crank the size and amount up. Just smooth this off a little bit. There we go. Not so much that it's going to affect anything that we've already done. Good. Crank the display ocean off. That's a bit better. It doesn't just look like it drops straight into the drink. Good object. No, I'm going to grab another rock because rocks are good. Rocks are friends. Rocks are friends. I only need one. There you go. Something like that. Yeah, I'm just something not quite right here. It'll be fine. It'll be fine because what we can do is just hit up trees. Cocoa bush. No, it's too much. We can grab a... There's something wrong with this, and I'm not liking it. Terrain. Let's smooth. Crank the size of the brush down by a significant amount. Crank it up a little bit. I think this is probably... yeah. Okay. It's a little better. Why are you spending so much time with this area? Because I don't like it, and there's something wrong about it. That's better. What is pointing up? Not that, but the green one is. Right, R to rotate. Okay, that's a bit better. Just filling in this space. You are too small. You are too big. But we're going to deal with you. So R to rotate. T to transform. I think, let's get rid of that. Let's drop you down a bit further. Let's go all the way down and grab some palm trees. Instead, terrain objects, palms. Because we've been reticent to put them in, and the reason I'm reticent to put them in is simply because at some point we'll just go around the whole island and just slam a load of palm trees in. Because that's just what we do. That one's very small. Get rid of you and put in, yes, please. So that's the tall one. That's the not so tall one. That's better. Okay. Rotate, because you can rotate it around. Just give it a couple of flicks, and then we are going to grab the young palm saplings. Give it a little rotate. And a little rotate. Oops. Now we'll delete you because you're not actually in the ground. There we go. Good. We'll drop it down a little bit and give it a rotate. That's a little better. Yeah. Yeah, just adds something. I think we could probably move this one slightly just to keep that area open. Let's give it a little tweak. Because we know we like it. But what if it could be a little bit better? Just a little bit. T transform. Just push that in there. And then I want blue tab just there. Excellent. Oh yeah, that's much better. Just opens that area up, but still allows you to see through, and just gives something that would be essentially just an area of the island you're not really giving much thought to. But really? Yeah, because it's a part that the player's not really going to notice. They're just going to be running across here trying to get to the wreck, which is a nice big open pathway with the wreck itself just kind of, here. I like it. I like this this broken back wreck that we've got going on, but I am going to leave it there for the time being. So we've dressed another offshore island, and we've done it in such a way that we've added a substantial amount of ironwork, but we haven't just added a bunch of treasure with it. And it's a curiosity, what happened here? So, I hope you like that. I'm going to leave it there. If you like the video, definitely leave a little like because it helps the video get found. If you want to, and you haven't done so already, you can subscribe. If you want notifications, dingle the bingle. If you don't want notifications, don't click the bell, and I'll tell you what, I'll catch you next time.